Hi, everyone. It's Professor Linky. I hope you are having a safe and relatively dry week to start this week and avoiding the rain. I wanted to make a quick little video and talk about what we're going to be doing this week since we're not meeting in class and we're meeting in our conferences. So again, please check the announcements right here. You should have received this in your email. This has our conference times. So if you are going to be meeting with me over Zoom, then it's indicated in Zoom. If you're going to be meeting with me in person, it doesn't have the Zoom link next to it. So when it's time for you to meet for the conference, you're going to come, you're going to click that link. It's going to open up to the Zoom room, which I'll have open inside the classroom. So we're going to talk for about 10 minutes, and we're mostly going to chat about your Unit 1 essay. So please make sure we get those in before we meet on Thursday, and your overall class performance and just kind of how you're feeling about class and everything. And then to talk a little bit about what your plans for next semester are. Okay, so here's the list. So as you can see, it's a pretty busy morning. So again, please try to be on time. And if we'll probably run over a couple minutes for each session. So please just be patient. If you are not on this list, then please contact me and we can meet between 10:50 and like 11:30 on that day, or try to meet another day. But this conference is worth points, so please make sure that you are coming to the conference so we can talk about the class. All right. So for this week, again, we're not meeting in class, so it's really, really important that you go through and read all the materials in the module. This module is going to be for 2 weeks, so it's going to be for this week, and then we're obviously going to have spring break next week, and then it's going to be the week leading up to April 6th, so that Thursday. So it's like week 7, or sorry, week 8 and 9 together. Now, there is not too many assignments for us to do because I do want to acknowledge that it is spring break and that I want you to take a break mentally or physically if you're going somewhere from this class, but also we want to make sure that we get ourselves familiar with what we're going to be looking at for our Unit 2. So let's take a look at that. So again, there's a couple ways to get to our things each week. I would recommend just clicking this link down here, or you can click modules. Okay. So if you click that link, it'll say welcome to weeks 8 and 9. This is a little bit about what we're doing in general. What we're doing is we're familiarizing ourselves with writing a persuasive essay and with breaking down the Unit 2 readings and videos. So you're doing 2 things this week. You're learning about why and how we write persuasively. So for the first essay, we were doing this really, critical rhetorical analysis. We were just looking at the author's argument, but this week and this week and in the upcoming weeks in Unit 2, we're going to be really looking about how we can persuade the reader of our viewpoints using outside resources. So in this essay, we're going to be making some sort of argument, right? And we're going to be supporting that argument. So this week, we're understanding what persuasion means, looking at the components of a persuasive essay. We're going to be looking at the prompt for the Unit 2 essay. We're going to look at it from the beginning so we know where we're going, because we're going to be turning in a draft in about 3 weeks. Okay. We're going to take a look at some texts, and we're going to look at their arguments and how they're being persuasive. So we're going to look at the persuasive language. Okay, so if you click next, you'll come to the weekly intention setting. So, sorry, I'm going to jump back. So if you look at the overall module this week, again, you'll need to complete all the items in the previous week module. That's what this means when it says prerequisite March 7th. It means that you need to complete all items in this module to be able to open the pages and assignments in this module, and so on. So it's all designed for you to go in order. So this week we're doing our weekly intention as usual. Again, you can use this to communicate with me about how you're feeling about the class or assignments or anything else. Just please try to remember to write complete sentences. And the more you write in those intention settings, then the more I'll write back and kind of give you what I'm thinking as well. But if you're just like, this week I want to work on my assignments, then I'll just give you a thumbs up. Okay. So after that, then we're going to start the unit 2. So we're going to introduce ourselves to the unit. We're going to talk about what a persuasive essay looks like and look at an example. We're going to talk about this idea of contextualizing. Again, we've talked a little bit about it, but it's basically putting ideas in context so we understand what they mean. Then we'll take a look at the prompt and see what we're going to be doing for this second essay. We're going to start thinking about how we're going to organize our ideas. Then we're going to look at the readings and videos that we're going to be using as our resources. And then we'll offer a discussion. So essentially, we want to learn about kind of the why and how and what about persuasion before we start doing the readings. And then we'll use the readings and things to help generate some persuasive ideas and opinions. So let's jump in and see what we're going to be looking at. Okay, so we got our weekly check-in. Then we have introduction to unit 2. So just watch, it's a quick video by Professor Whitsett where she just kind of breaks down some general ideas about persuasion so we have kind of a foundation to understand what we're talking about. Here's a schedule of what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. So this week and next and after spring break that week, we're going to learn about persuasive writing. We're going to look at the content for unit 2. In week 10, we're going to talk about how we can do some outside research if we want to and do that research. We're going to do some brainstorming in class and learn how to do some in-text citations, just like we did last week. And then we'll turn in our first draft. So we're going to turn this around pretty quickly. And again, remember for the draft is a chance for you to get some of your ideas down in writing and turn them in so I can give you feedback and kind of steer you in the right direction. So I'm not expecting a fully completed essay for that draft, but I'm expecting a couple pages, some idea of where you're going with, even if your body paragraphs just have like the first topic, sentence, or assertion, and you're still looking for the evidence, that's okay, right? But letting me know what your kind of points are, what your argument is, what your counter argument is, the structure of this essay matters. So let's try to wrap our heads around how we're going to do that over these next couple weeks. In week 11, we'll do feedback, we'll do some editing practice and get ourselves ready to turn in the final draft in week 12. Okay. So again, all these pages, this is information for you to read. So again, we're not meeting in class this week, and half this class is a hybrid class. So it is expected that you're going to read this information. So if we don't read this a couple different times, it's okay if you don't, memorize all this information word for word, but reading over these different tabs about argument, about persuasive, looking at an example, that's important to be able to understand the things that we're going to be talking about in class. So if you read this over and you're just lost, or you like, I don't know exactly what we're doing, then this is a chance to take some notes, write some questions, and either send me an email and I'll answer you over break. I'll be around. Or you can come to your conference and ask me a question, or you can come to class on April 6th and also bring questions, and we'll talk about this, right? And we'll do some more activities to help clarify what we're doing. But in general, it's very important that you read about this idea before we come to class and start writing about it. Okay, so you're going to read about argument and what it means to make an argument. You're going to watch this video by Professor Whitsett where she's talking about how you write a persuasive essay. Here's an example persuasive essay with an example prompt, not the prompt for this unit, but a separate one that you can just look to see how this student kind of crafted their idea. And you can look at this essay right here with comments. Okay, so I made some annotation comments over here where I talked about the structure. And then you can look at just the example without the comments. Okay. And then again, this talks more about the purpose. So why do we write persuasively? the structure. So there's an introduction and thesis, just like in the other essay. And then you're going to contextualize the discussion. So this is kind of a body paragraph where you're talking about defining the issue. Then you're offering some opposing ideas to what you're actually arguing about. You provide some strong reasons and evidence, talk about how the author is making their arguments, and then offer an overall conclusion. Okay, so there's a lot of information on this page. So again, I don't expect you just to read it once and be like, okay, next, and understand it completely. But maybe take some time this week, read through this page, and then after you come back from spring break, take some time and read through it again to make sure that you understand what we're talking about here. So this page is talking about how this is basically a small little outline of what our essay is going to look like. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be talking about how we contextualize the issue. So it means, to think about how it fits in with the larger situation. So we're going to be talking about identity and this idea of nature versus nurture. So how does that contextualize in our current situation in the world today? Right. Go next. Okay, so here is the prompt. So this is the prompt for the second essay that we're going to be writing. So with this prompt, here's some background. So this tells you kind of what we should know as we're going to be writing. So this is largely a summary of what we looked at in Unit 1. And then here's the prompt here. So it says, take a stance, nature versus nurture. In this academic essay, take a position on the following questions. Is identity a choice? Do genetics and biology dictate your personality and behavior, or is it your environment, culture, and how you were raised? Are gender roles and differences predetermined, or does society impose them? Support your position with logical and relevant evidence from credible sources. Okay. So essentially you're saying, is your identity predetermined by our genes and by our culture and all the things that came before we were born? Or is it after we're born and how we grow up and the people that are around us and the ideas that we are introduced to? Okay. So that's one part. And then are gender roles and differences predetermined, or are they reflected from society? And support your position with logical reasons and relevant evidence. Okay, so you're going to be making some argument either for or against these ideas. Either you think that it's more genetic based or you think it's more behavior based. Okay, so here's the due dates, the guidelines, right? You're going to submit a first and final draft. So the first draft is going to be on the 13th, and the final is going to be due on the 27th. Okay, so we got in about a month, we're going to have this due. Again, this one's going to be 15% of your grade, just like the last one. And this essay we're shooting for 6 pages here. So with the works cited pages, we're shooting 7. So we're essentially doubling what we did in this past essay. So in this essay, there's a little bit more to it because we're contextualizing the issue in a paragraph or two. Then we're going to be talking about the counter argument. Then we're going to be making our argument clear and then following up with an analysis of how the author is making their argument known and then a conclusion. So we'll have quite a couple, we'll have at least like 10 or 11 paragraphs to work with. That sounds like a lot, but that's okay. We're gonna work on them in small little pieces to make it easy for us to do this. Okay, but that's where we're going. Okay, but we're definitely gonna spend some time working on that. So again, take some time to look over the prompt here. Okay, and then so this page is for you to reflect and just kind of think about what we just looked at as far as the prompt goes. How are you going to organize your essay? When you saw it, what was your initial reaction? Do you already have some sort of opinion? If you do, that's good, right? If you don't, that's okay. It says, as you do the assigned readings this week, start to form or confirm your opinion. Work to understand both perspectives or positions on the issue. Take notes on reasons that support both sides of the debate. Which reasons makes the most sense to you? Which position do they support? And so these readings and videos are potential evidence to support your point. Okay. Then you're going to take a stance. Then you're going to build your argument. So you have to list your reasons. So I believe this because of these reasons that, and so you need evidence, right? You need evidence from the readings or from some outside sources. And then again, the goal of persuasive writing is to convince the reader that you are willing, that what you are writing is true about the world. Okay, so you got to provide reasons and evidence to convince the audience of your position. Okay, so here's the readings. Right. Again, this is kind of framing what we're going to be doing. So it talks about the genre that we're looking at. So they're pretty much short news articles and videos. Again, for unit 1, we were just looking at one specific article and we were looking at it over and over and over, trying to analyze it and figure out what the purpose was in the argument. We were doing a very close reading, but in unit 2, you don't have to do that for all of these readings because there's a bunch of them. I've given you a ton of sources to work with. So you just want to kind of find out what the main idea is, what some of the arguments are. Try to think about, what's the overall message that the author is trying to send, but you don't have to analyze it like we were in the previous unit. Okay, so you click here, unit 2 readings. Okay, so again, we're reading for kind of a different purpose. We're deciding whether we can choose our own identity or whether it's fixed by our genes and birth, while also trying to get potential sources to support our ideas. So here are 7 different articles to read. So can we choose our identity? Choose your own identity, your network. Social media shapes our identity, why identity matters, expanding the role of identity and the power of us, the iceberg, visible and hidden identity. Or you can watch these videos. Okay, so I've given us 5 different TED Talks for us to kind of look at and get some ideas from. So you can use any or all of this information to help support whatever stance you take. Okay, so you're gonna, again, I don't expect you to read all these articles in one sitting or watch all these videos in a row and then instantly understand them. But this is the content that I'm going to be providing for this unit. Again, you can use some outside sources and we'll talk about those when we meet as a class. But you can use these ones as well. And so take some time, read through these, find something that speaks to you or that you like, or that you feel like you can understand pretty well, and then use that to kind of help start to find the evidence for your opinion. Okay, so then you'll click next. And so here's the real assignment this week, the only real major thing you're doing other than the weekly check-in. So again, you have you have more than 2 weeks to do this. So you're doing 2 things. Okay, so for this discussion post, you're choosing 1 reading and 1 video from below to read, watch, and respond to the questions. Okay, so you're choosing 1 of these readings and you're choosing 1 of these videos. So you need not just 1 or the other, 1 of each. Okay, 1 reading, 1 video. Then after you do that, you're going to summarize your video or article in 3 to 5 sentences. You're going to identify the name of the video. So tell us what it's called, who is the speaker or the author, and list the following. What's the overall message or argument that they're making in their video? What's the purpose? Who do you think their audience is? So who are they talking to? And in a couple sentences, what is the article or video about? So you're going to explain this in your own words. Okay. And then you're going to answer the second question. So what does the article or video have to do with identity? So find a direct quote or piece of evidence from the text that provide an example to support your ideas. This response should be around 3 to 5 sentences. Okay, so you're doing 2 things. You're giving me basically a quick little analysis. What's the argument? What's the purpose? Who's the audience? What it's about? Then you're going to connect it to this idea of identity. What does it have to do with identity? Write about that in 3 to 5 sentences. Okay, so you're going to do that for one of the readings. You're going to be doing that for one of the videos. So you need to do 2, either 1 big post or 2 smaller posts. Okay. And then you're going to respond to classmates. Okay, so when someone offers a video or an idea, then you're going to lead some sort of comment, either a shorter response to 2 different students or a longer response to 1 student. Okay. And so this in total is worth 50 points, right? So it's kind of a big assignment because it's a 2-part assignment essentially. So make sure you get your first post down, that you're answering both questions 1 and 2 for each reading and video, and that you're responding to a classmate. Okay, and so that's it for this week. And then the recap, okay? Okay, so that's it. I will see everyone at their conferences on Thursday, and if I don't, please contact me to set up a different time. If you have any questions about the module or about the assignments or about Unit 2, then just take some notes and write them down and bring them to your conference time. So I'll see everyone on Thursday.